I'm trapped inside a metal box. It's pitch black. I can't stand up. I can't stretch out. The air is thick and suffocating. My hands are bound. My mouth is gagged. I can hear him moving around outside. The butcher who just shot my boyfriend and is now dismembering his body with the same knives he uses at work. I've been in this box for hours. Maybe 10, maybe 12. I don't know anymore. My body is cramping. I can barely breathe. And I know if I don't get out of here, I'm gonna die in this box. Or worse, he'll let me out. My name is Brook Weber. I'm 18 years old. And the man who killed my boyfriend has plans for me. Plans that involve keeping me as his sex toy, as he told his brother-in-law. Plans that mean I'll never leave Mississippi alive, but he doesn't know I'm already working on getting out. Let me take you back to how this nightmare started. This story begins 2 days earlier in Houston, Texas. I grew up in Texas. At 18, I was young, maybe naive, but I wasn't stupid. I'd been dating Jeffrey Wolfe for a few months. He was 23, charming, and he treated me well. Jeffrey dealt marijuana. I knew that. It wasn't something I was proud of, but it was what it was. He'd supply it on consignment to people, and they'd pay him back when they sold it. One of those people was Gary Simmons, a guy Jeffrey knew in Moss Point, Mississippi. Gary was a butcher at a local grocery store. He owed Jeffrey somewhere between $12,000 and $20,000 for marijuana he'd been given to sell. Jeffrey had been patient, but the debt had been dragging on for too long. On August 11th, 1996, Jeffrey decided we'd drive to Mississippi to collect the money. It was supposed to be quick, get the cash, maybe vacation in New Orleans for a couple days, then head back to Texas. I met Jeffrey's father that morning before we left. Everything felt normal, safe. "I'll have a gun on me," Jeffrey told me during the drive. "Just in case." But Gary's cool. It'll be fine. I trusted him. Why wouldn't I? Jeffrey knew this guy. They'd done business before. There was no reason to think anything would go wrong. We arrived at Gary Simmons's house in Moss Point late that evening. It was a modest place, quiet neighborhood, but when we pulled up, something felt off. The house was dark. No lights on inside. No signs of anyone home. "That's weird," I said. Jeffrey shrugged. He knew we were coming. Maybe he's just watching TV or something. We knocked. Gary answered. He was in his mid-30s, stocky, with this unsettling calmness about him. He invited us in. The house was dim, cluttered. His brother-in-law, Timothy Milano, was there too. Milano was younger, early 20s, with this nervous energy that made me uncomfortable. Jeffrey got straight to business. "So you got the money!" Or the product. Gary looked at Milano. Milano looked at the floor. "We don't have it," Gary said finally. Jeffrey's jaw tightened. "What do you mean you don't have it?" "I've been waiting months, man." "We'll get it to you," Gary said. "Just give us a little more time." The conversation was tense, but it didn't feel dangerous. Not yet. Jeffrey was frustrated, but he wasn't threatening anyone. We were just talking, working it out. Then everything exploded. What I didn't know, what Jeffrey didn't know, was that Gary Simmons was a monster hiding in plain sight. He'd been married to a woman named Lori. For years, he'd subjected her to horrific domestic violence. He was obsessed with control, with domination, with violence. Especially sexual violence. Lori had finally escaped with their children, fleeing in fear for her life. But Gary's twisted fantasies hadn't gone away. They'd only grown darker. In his house, hidden away, Gary had built something. A metal box, human-sized. A footlocker with a lock on the outside. He'd been waiting for the right opportunity, the right victim, to make his fantasies reality. When Jeffrey and I showed up at his door, demanding money he didn't have, Gary saw his chance. The argument between Jeffrey and Gary escalated. Voices got louder. Milano looked more and more nervous, like he knew something was about to happen. Then Milano went to another room. When he came back, he had a .22 caliber rifle. Jeffrey saw it. His hand moved toward his own gun. But he wasn't fast enough. Milano fired. The gunshot is deafening. Jeffrey falls. I scream. Blood is spreading across his chest. He's not moving. Oh God, he's not moving. I try to run. Gary grabs me. His hands are strong. Butcher's hands, used to gripping and cutting. He slams me against the wall. Shut up! He hisses in my face. I'm screaming, crying, fighting, but he's too strong. Milano is standing there with the rifle, pointing it at me now. Tie her up, Gary tells Milano. Milano hesitates. Gary, what are we? Tie her up! Milano grabs rope. They force me into a chair. They bind my wrists behind my back, my ankles to the chair legs. They shove a gag in my mouth. I can't speak. I can barely breathe. Tears are streaming down my face. Jeffrey is on the floor. I can see him from where I'm tied. He's not moving. There's so much blood. Gary crouches down next to him, checking for a pulse. He stands up, looks at Milano. He's dead. The words hit me like another gunshot. Jeffrey is dead. The man I came here with, the man who was supposed to protect me, is dead. What are we going to do with the body? Milano asks. His voice is shaking. Gary thinks for a moment. Then he smiles. It's the most terrifying smile I've ever seen. I'll take care of it. I've got my tools from work. My stomach drops. Tools from work. He's a butcher. Oh God. Oh God, no. They leave me tied in the chair for hours. I can hear them in another room. The bathroom, I think. I hear running water. I hear other sounds. Cutting. Sawing. The smell that starts drifting through the house is something I'll never forget. Metallic. Awful. They're dismembering Jeffrey. In the bathtub. With Gary's butcher knives and a bolt cutter. I'm sobbing into the gag. My mind is racing. I'm next. After they finish with Jeffrey, they're going to kill me too. Finally, Gary comes back. He's cleaned up, but there's still blood under his fingernails. He looks at me the way someone looks at an object. Not a person. A thing. We need to figure out what to do with you, he says. Just let her go, Milano says. She won't say anything. Will you? He looks at me desperately, like he's hoping I'll give him an excuse to let me live. Gary shakes his head. Can't do that. She's a witness. So what? We kill her too? Maybe, Gary says. Or maybe I keep her for a while. The way he says it makes my skin crawl. They untie me from the chair and drag me outside. It's dark now. Late. They take me to a shed behind the house. Inside is the box, the metal footlocker. It's about 6 feet long, maybe 3 feet wide, 2 feet deep. Get in, Gary orders. I try to resist, but Milano presses the rifle against my back. I climb in. My legs are bent. I can't fully stretch out. They close the lid. I hear the lock click into place. Darkness. Complete darkness. I can hear them talking outside, their voices muted through the metal. How long are we keeping her in there? Milano asks. As long as I want, Gary says. I hear their footsteps fade away. I don't know how long I'm in there. Time becomes meaningless. Hours blur together. The box is suffocating. The air is thick, stale. I'm still gagged, so I have to breathe through my nose. Every breath feels like I'm drowning. My body starts cramping. My legs, my back, my arms. I try to shift positions, but there's no room. The metal is cold against my skin. I'm wearing what I had on when we arrived, just regular clothes. But it's hot in Mississippi in August, even at night. The box becomes like an oven. I drift in and out of consciousness. Exhaustion, fear, dehydration, it all takes its toll. At some point, maybe 6 hours in, maybe 8, Gary opens the box. He pulls me out, removes the gag, gives me water, then he rapes me. When he's done, he puts me back in the box. This happens again and again. I lose count. Between these violations, I'm alone in the darkness with my thoughts. With the image of Jeffrey bleeding out on Gary's floor. With the knowledge that Gary dismembered Jeffrey's body and dumped the pieces in the bayou. 13 hours. That's how long I'm in that box total. 13 hours of hell. But I'm not giving up. While Gary thinks I'm broken, helpless, I'm planning. The box isn't perfectly sealed. There's a gap near the lid where it doesn't quite meet the base. It's small, but if I can work my fingers into it, maybe I can create leverage. Maybe I can pop the lid. The gag is loose now from all the times he's removed it and put it back. I can work it down with my tongue, get it off my mouth. My hands are still bound, but the rope has loosened from my struggles. I can feel circulation returning to my fingers. I wait. I listen. I hear Gary moving around inside the house. Then it gets quiet. This is my chance. I start kicking, pushing, using every ounce of strength I have left. The box shakes. The lid rattles. My fingers find the gap. I pull. I push. The lid gives a little. I kick harder. Again. Again. The lid pops open. I'm out. I'm out of the box. The shed is dark, but there's moonlight coming through cracks in the walls. I can see the door. It's not locked from the inside. I stumble to it. My legs barely work after being cramped for so long. I push it open. Fresh air. Oh God, fresh air. I'm in Gary's backyard. The house is maybe 50 feet away. I can see lights on inside. He's in there. To my left is a neighbor's house. Lights are on there too. People are home. I run. I'm barefoot, hands still bound, but I run. Every step feels like my legs might give out, but I keep going. I reach the neighbor's yard. I start screaming, "Help! Please help me! He's going to kill me!" The neighbor's door opens. A woman stares at me in shock. This wild-eyed girl with the bound hands, bruised, terrified, screaming about murder. "Call 911!" I scream. "Please! He killed my boyfriend! He's going to kill me!" Behind me, I hear Gary's door open. He's coming. The neighbor pulls me inside and locks the door. She's on the phone with police, telling them there's an emergency, that there's a girl saying someone tried to kill her. Through the window, I see Gary in his yard, looking around, trying to figure out where I went. Then he sees the neighbor's house. Our eyes meet through the window. He knows. He turns and runs back inside his house. Police arrive within minutes. I'm hysterical, barely coherent, but I manage to tell them what happened. Jeffrey, the shooting, the dismemberment, the box, the rape. They surround Gary's house. Milano is still inside. They arrest him immediately. He doesn't resist. But Gary is gone. He fled through a back door while I was giving my statement. The police search the house. What they find is beyond horrific. Blood everywhere in the bathroom. Evidence of dismemberment. Pieces of Jeffrey's clothing. And my DNA in the shed, in the box, confirming everything I told them. They start searching the bayou near Gary's property. Over the next few days, they recover about 80% of Jeffrey's body. 108 pieces. Cut up with the precision of someone who knows exactly how to butcher meat. I'm taken to the hospital. Medical examination. Rape kit. They document every bruise, every mark, every injury. The physical evidence that corroborates my story. I call my family. Telling them what happened is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. They immediately fly out to Mississippi to be with me. Jeffrey's father gets the call no parent should ever receive. His son, who he just said goodbye to 2 days ago, is dead. Murdered. Dismembered. Gary is on the run for several days. Police eventually track him to his ex-wife Lori's house in Mobile, Alabama. When they surround the place, Gary records a video confession admitting to everything. Then, he surrenders. The investigation revealed the full extent of Gary Simmons's depravity. He'd been planning something like this for years. The box wasn't a spontaneous creation. He'd built it deliberately, waiting for an opportunity to use it. His ex-wife, Lori, came forward with her own horrific stories of abuse, of Gary's violent fantasies, of the terror she'd lived with during their marriage. Milano cooperated with police. He admitted he'd shot Jeffrey, but claimed it was Gary's idea, that Gary had orchestrated everything, that Gary was the one who dismembered the body while Milano watched, horrified. According to testimony, Gary had told Milano he planned to keep me as a sex toy, that he wasn't going to kill me right away, that he wanted to use me for as long as he wanted, then dispose of me when he was done. The trial began in 1997. I had to testify. I had to sit in that courtroom and relive every moment while Gary sat there staring at me. I had to describe the box, the rapes, the sounds of Jeffrey being cut apart in the bathroom. Jeffrey's father, Pascal Lee Wolfe, also testified. He talked about his son, about the last time he'd seen him alive, about the pain of losing his child in such a brutal way. The jury deliberated. The evidence was overwhelming. Milano had confessed. Gary had confessed. My testimony sealed it. Gary Carl Simmons was found guilty of capital murder, kidnapping, and rape. He was sentenced to death. He also received 2 life sentences for the kidnapping and rape charges. Timothy Milano was sentenced to life in prison for capital murder and 30 years for kidnapping. The rape charge against him was dismissed as part of his plea deal. Justice was served, but it didn't bring Jeffrey back, and it didn't erase what I'd been through. Trust became impossible. Nightmares became routine. I moved away from Texas, started over somewhere people didn't know my story. On June 20th, 2012, Gary Simmons was executed by lethal injection at the Mississippi State Penitentiary. Jeffrey's father watched. He called Gary a piece of trash who would burn in hell. I didn't watch. I didn't need to. In 2023, I did something unexpected. I reached out to Lori Simmons, Gary's ex-wife. We met, 2 women who'd both survived Gary's violence in different ways. It was healing in a way I didn't expect. Lori understood what I'd been through, and I understood her trauma, too. I am Brook Weber, period, I told her. Not a victim. Just Brook. I'm in my 40s now. I have a life, friends, work, days where I don't think about the box at all. But I'd be lying if I said I'm unchanged. Jeffrey Wolfe was 23 when Gary murdered him. He didn't deserve that. I was 18 when it happened. I got out. I survived.